Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic Hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm here to talk to you about the latest episode of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. It was called
Can't say I remember no Atten.
And as it starts, thanks to the coordinates they got from Kim, our heroes and their Jedi, not Jedi friend, Jod, seem to arrive back at Atten. When they land and exit the ship, however, things seem a bit post-apocalyptic for some reason. It isn't long before the kids are exploring and surmise that maybe they're on one of the other treasure planets that was supposedly destroyed. In fact, back on the ship, M33 tells Jod that they're actually on Akron, and that it's a dangerous place. Simultaneously, the kids soon find themselves in the company of another kid named Hana, who seems to be in like some kind of rebel group, and they're taken to a rundown school where they meet the group leader, Hana's father, who promises to allow the daughter to take them to a place called the Fallen Sanctum, where they might find a map to their planet, but only after they train with his warriors. Back at the ship, Jod and M33 find themselves beset by whatever group it is that the rebels are opposing. Neil and Hana go off to look at a giant cannon and end up talking about how peaceful things are on Atten, while the other kids shoot some guns before they're told that they all have to lead the rebels into battle, which they do very, very hesitantly, pretty much at gunpoint. They soon find themselves face to face with M33 and Jod, who managed to return some stolen livestock to the rebel group after he bargained for it with the group that they're opposing using Wim's credits. When Hana takes the kids, Jod and M33 to the outskirts of the location that they were promised to be taken to, Neil invites her to come along to Atten, where everything is peaceful, but she declines, saying that maybe someday she can take him up on his offer. She also says she realizes that he's kind, and that her world could use some kindness. And she even gives him a little peck on the trunk to say goodbye. Aww. In the Sanctum, they find the coordinates to all the other treasure planets, but the ones for their planet are blasted off the wall. And it turns out that M33 is the one who erased them on some prior occasion, but he can only remember fragments of that past. Fern gets upset and has a moment of self-doubt, and Wim unsuccessfully tries to reassure her that she's doing a good job. She then figures out that maybe M33 was ordered to forget everything about Atten, so as his new captain, she orders him to remember, and when he starts to remember, he recalls being ordered by his prior captain to destroy the coordinates, and then to tear everyone who comes looking for the planet limb from limb, before going on the attack, at which point Neil draws him away from the others by throwing a rock at him, and he's then only saved from being killed when Jod heroically runs up on M33 and pulls some of his wires, causing him to power down. And that's where the episode ended. So, I continue to like this show. I don't think it's anything fantastic. You know, it's not like they're knocking it out of the park or it's, an 8 out of 10 or anything. But it's an enjoyable show. I think this episode in particular had a very sweet thread running through it that didn't really come through in the previous 3 episodes. It really felt the most to me like the, kid-centric movies and shows of old this week more than in the previous weeks. And that's because of the exchange between Neil and Hana, or the exchanges, I should say, where you really see Neil's character come through, more than it had in the previous 3 episodes. And you see just how gentle a person he is. And I really liked that. I liked that they showed that he made a connection with Hana. And, I liked the sort of bittersweet part where she says, yeah, I think this world could use a little peacefulness, a little kindness, but it's not in the cards right now, but maybe in the future. So it left that, that hopeful opening there. And I think, that's the kind of thing that you want to have in your storytelling. So I enjoyed that. Once again, Nick Frost is nailing it as M33. I think he does a really good job. I am liking Jude Law as Jod. I think he's doing a good job, and I think the character itself is interesting. Clearly, he's a complex character in that he's not all villain but he's also not all hero. I wouldn't even say he's an anti-hero. He's kind of a Han Solo type, right? He's out there, or Orlando Calrissian type. He's out there trying to, get by in a scrabble, scrappy life kind of way. And he isn't afraid to be a bit of a rogue, but at the same time, he's, not devious to the point where he would hurt kids, for example, or fail to rush in to protect kids when needed, or other people in general for that matter. So I like that. And I continue to like the mystery that they're building surrounding these treasure planets. What exactly is going on at Atten that's so special that they have to hide themselves? And so special that M33's prior captain didn't want anyone else to know where it was, presumably so that he could find it and take its treasure for himself and not have to share it with anyone. Are there other treasures on these other planets? How many of them are still left in existence if Akron is in existence? And if so, are any of them normal, or are they all post-apocalyptic like Akron? I think it's a good mystery, and I think that's what we're going to see unfolding over the next few episodes that are left. One thing I didn't like about this episode was the bit where the father says, okay, well, you'll have to train with our warriors, then we'll take you to this secret sanctum, whatever, the fallen sanctum. And then they train for like 10 minutes. And he's like, all right, you kids can now lead the troops. We're going to go confront the people that we're warring with or feuding with. I thought that was a little dumb. I didn't think that made any sense. I thought that if he was going to make them do something for him, the stakes should have been a little higher, other than just, oh, we'll shoot some of my guns for a few minutes. And I didn't think it made sense that after they only shot some of his guns for a few minutes, he would put them in the front. It just doesn't make sense strategically for a combat force to put kids in the front. Like, if you're trying to win, like what, if it was just to prove their bravery, which I guess it must have been that, going by what he says at the end, that's fine. But like, they're not even as old as your daughter. Your daughter's older than them, and you're putting them in the front. Like, they could literally die. Like, I don't know. It seemed a little weird to me that all went down that way. But I guess that's a minor flaw in an otherwise pretty decent episode. These episodes are about a half hour apiece, and I think there are 7 of them. So what's that? That's about 210, 220 minutes, give or take, if some are longer than 30 minutes. And 120 minutes is 2 hours. So I don't know. I guess it's a little long to do as a movie. It would be over 3 hours. But the way they've parceled this out, the way the story beats are coming, it seems to me like it's better suited to a movie. So now I'm wondering if we're going to end up with an Obi-Wan situation where some of the episodes are obvious padding, or if they're all going to, make sense and fill out a 7-episode arc satisfyingly. We'll have to see. I don't know. It just occurred to me yesterday that this might have worked better as a movie. The thing is, it's a little too long. But what I don't know is if it's a little too long because they've padded it. And that remains to be seen. But anyway, I'm liking the show. I don't think it's fantastic. I think it's okay. I think these episodes are like a 7 or so out of 10. And that's about it. So I'm going to get out of here for now. I'll be back with another video soon. Until I return, may the Force be with you.